Jazz 6, 7, 8, movie time at the Zoo. Yeah, just on with the review. Mary Poppins Returns is directed by Rob Marshall and it stars Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Ben Whishaw. And it's the story of the Banks family, Jane, Michael, and his 3 children who learn that their house will be repossessed in 5 days unless they can pay back a loan. And of course, Mary Poppins returns to help in any way she can through dance, song, and of course, magic. So Mary Poppins was very much a movie I was looking forward to. I loved the Broadway style, the music, the dance, the style, the jazz hands, the panache. That was supposed to be glitter. This was also being handled by Disney with a budget of $130 million with a great cast, great hope, great trailer. But did it live up? I'm happy to say it did. I enjoyed this movie very much, and I can confidently say that people in the theater enjoyed this movie just as much as me. This movie just had a great energy and feel about it. I mean, people were clapping before the movie even started when the stars just introduced it. Hi, I'm Emily Blunt. And I'm Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I play Jack in the all-new Mary Poppins Returns. Our cast and crew really did put a lot of hard work and energy into this movie, and it was such a magical time. Not only do we want to thank Disney, but we most of all want to thank you. So from all of us here at Disney, and Emily included, thank you and enjoy the show. And everybody in the audience. Woo! Yeah! But that energy was there the entire movie, the entire time. After certain musical sequences and things that happen, the audience would truly clap after a lot of it. And it made the movie more enjoyable. So we begin our movie with a pretty good start. We meet one of our main characters, Jack, played by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And he is a Leary. A Leary is somebody who lights and unlights the street lamps throughout London. And Jack also starts out the movie with a little bit of a song. This introduces a time period. It's in the early 1900s. And we also learn that we're in the time of the Great Slump, which is basically the UK version of our Great Depression here in America. Now, the song he starts out with isn't some great big grand song. It's just really a middle of the pack song, but nonetheless, good start. And then enter the Banks family. Now, this movie is a sequel to the original Mary Poppins. It's not like its own separate thing. Jane and Michael have now grown up from the OG. Michael has 3 children now, and he's dealing with the loss of his wife, and obviously the children, the loss of their mother. And so this movie starts out pretty hectic as we're all trying to learn, deal, and cope with this. So the beginning of the movie took a little bit of getting used to just because it's like a $130 million budget Broadway show in the movies. It felt a bit like Grease Live in the beginning just because everything is so fast-paced, everybody's hitting their beats, going in and out of each other, line after line after line. It felt almost unnatural in the beginning, but it definitely got better as the movie progressed. Michael, someone's at the door. I'll get it, Jane. Annabelle, make sure your brother finds his shoes. Yes, father. Georgie, where are your shoes? I don't know, I gave them you. No, I didn't, Georgie. Yes, you did. Jane, Annabelle's lying. And right now, Georgie, we have a leak in the kitchen. Michael, please come help. Yes, Jane, coming. But I'm not kidding you, that first scene was so fast, it could have been in a hotel room, turned off the light switch, and been in the bed before the room went dark. This scene is also so funny because there's a leak in the kitchen, there's water everywhere, and the youngest of the children, Georgie, goes up to the oldest of the children, Annabelle, and he asks her if he can go into the kitchen. And she just says, "No, Georgie, not without your wetties." I'm like, wetties? Man, I'm really starting to dig this lingo. We just put E's on the end of everything. Wetties, breckies, siggies, baddies, learies. The loo. But then enter Mary Poppins. I enjoyed the scene of Mary Poppins so much. Coming in from the kite, it was so enjoyable, so magical, and so well done. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all! One thing I absolutely love about this movie is the look and feel of it. It just feels so Disney. It feels so alive and energetic, charming, magical, colorful. It truly feels when you finish this movie that you just went on a 2-hour and 20-minute Disney ride, which some people love and some people hate. I just happen to love it. This movie also has great pacing. It never slows down to a screeching halt. You're never really bored. It's also very clever and very funny, so it always keeps you on your toes. Though one of my few gripes about the movie is it might be a tad bit long. I might have shaved off about 20 minutes of it, maybe a song or two, especially because the climax of the movie comes at the end and you're getting all your stuff ready. And then you sit there for another half hour. In my opinion, this movie will age extremely well. There's not a ton of CGI in here that we're going to look back in 20 years and be like, wow, our technology is so much better now. There's a lot of cartoon artwork in this movie as well that really reminds me of the OG Mary Poppins that came out 50 years ago and still looks great today. Oh, and good golly, Miss Molly, this movie is colorful. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. I can already see it now. We're in Best Buy, right? You're looking at your 4K TVs. On every single monitor, they've got Mary Poppins Returns playing, and it says on their unreal color contrast. I mean, it reminds me a ton of The Wizard of Oz. You know, like the actual colorful stuff, not the black and white, stuff. That's like Yeah, the music as expected in this movie was fantastic. It was a great musical score, had a great underlying theme throughout the movie, and surprisingly it's in there like 75% of the time. Like even between all the cutscenes and the transition scenes, it's still going on in the back like bam, 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 bam. In my opinion, one of the missed opportunities in this movie where there were no callbacks to the original songs from the original Mary Poppins. But I figured they could do a couple of the original songs just because it's a sequel to the original Mary Poppins. It's super califrag. I would get if this was its own new thing, like a new Mary Poppins, new story, new songs, new everything. But this is Mary Poppins Returns. It's the same one. It's the same people growing up. So these characters should know all of the old songs. I would want like a reunion song. I thought the acting from everyone was wonderful here. Everybody did their part, but without a doubt, the standout of the movie was Mary Poppins herself, Emily Blunt. Hi, I'm Emily Blunt. She's just so clever and so funny, and this movie as well is surprisingly funny. Though I might say that she is such a liar and she is quite arrogant. I look darling. No, it's not like that. It's more like, perfect in every way. She's just so good in this role. I mean, other than being narcissistic, she's really confident. And she really pulls it off like she's the actual Mary Poppins. She doesn't come across at all like she's new to this role. She really seems like she had been there before and done this time in and time out. Also, huge acting shout out to Ben Whishaw, who plays Michael Banks, the father. And there's one scene in particular in this movie where he breaks down at the loss of his wife, and it's so good. It's nothing over the top, it's nothing in your face or big or anything like that. It's just so real, and it really feels like he lost someone. And he might have been thinking about that during the scene, but it's just so good. Whew! I mean, it gave me the willies. Yeah, we're going with lots of lingo here in this review. It's not the first, and it definitely won't be the last.
Several bad puns later.
Oh, speaking of lingo, I want to take Mary Poppins dialogue and download it into my own dialogue. Pish posh chickadee jog spit spot. I mean, who doesn't want to talk like that on the daily? The casting was perfect, everybody was likable, everybody had great motives, everybody was good all around. Not to mention the screenplay was fantastic, so it's a lot easier for the actors to go off of that. By the way, we should really give it up to these casting directors for finding the actor to play the role of John in the movie. I mean, to actually cast Alfred E. Newman? Wow. What a treat. The dance numbers here were also fantastic. The choreography was great. There was a standout ladder scene with all of the Learys together towards the end of the movie, and that was extremely well done. My personal favorite song in this movie was Jack's solo scene at the musical hall. He's just by himself with the cartoon artwork. He's riddling off a rap. He's doing great choreo. Oh yeah, choreo, if you don't know, is short for choreography, and yeah, we like to use that in the big leagues out here. We got our own vernacular, so yeah, we're set. Meryl Streep was also in this movie. I had no idea she was going to be in this movie going in. But at the beginning of the movie, they do that thing where they play all of the major credits and all of the cast members. And so her name pops up and a couple people whooped and hollered. Whooped? What? Why am I? Whooped? Really? Why am I? Gosh. Oh, I'll keep a lookout for her, because if I didn't see that, I would probably not have known that was her in the movie. She looked completely unrecognizable. She has this great accent. She has a great personality. Super funny. Very creative song. Not to mention, she does about 6 backflips at the end of the song. So if you're on the fence of this movie, that should be the tipping point. And last but definitely not least, the costume design was excellent in this movie, as well were most of the visuals in this entire film. One of my favorite costume changes is when Mary Poppins is behind her umbrella and then she changes into this completely different thing and her hair gets all short and they give Emily Blunt a blunt cut. And I'm like, you had to do that, didn't you? So stupid. Now on to some of my dislikes for the movie. There weren't that many, but there were a couple of big ones. One in particular that was so big and so stupid that it almost brought my review down an entire point just because of that thing alone. I can't say it because of spoilers, but just know that there's a stupid little plot device in this movie. Oh man, it's just too important to the story to go unnoticed. Again, some of you might like it, maybe not even notice it, but others will definitely notice it, and I was one of those guys. One of the things I thought was so hilarious was there's this huge sequence in the movie at nighttime. It takes place at around midnight, and Jack, who is a Leary, rounds up all of the Learys in London, and there's like 250 of them. And they come at his beck and call at like midnight. I'm like, you have nothing else going on at this time. You're just kind of waiting around, waiting for something to happen. Like, when Jack calls, I'll be there. And especially, there's not even cell phones during this time because it's the early 1900s. So I guess, like, I don't know, word of mouth gets around quickly. Something that was so crazy to me in this movie was there's a sequence in the movie where they're all trying to climb Big Ben, which is obviously a huge tower, and they need a bunch of people to do it because they all have ladders. So they stack these ladders on top of each other all the way up Big Ben. And Mary Poppins isn't really in this sequence for that. What's so crazy is because Mary Poppins wasn't a part of this sequence, it just seems so impossible to me. At this point, there had been so many impossible things happening. They had even gone on a China Bowl and talked and cooperated with the artwork on the China Bowl. Yet when they try to climb a building with ladders, I'm just like, that's impossible. It's just so crazy, my perception of how things go when Mary Poppins isn't around. When she's there, it's truly magical. It's truly an enjoyable thing to see. Everybody's having fun. You can do whatever you want. But as soon as she's gone and any human tries anything at all dangerous and impossible, I'm like, that's impossible. That wasn't like a huge dislike. I just thought that was a funny observation. But a dislike in this movie was that Mary Poppins disappeared in the end of the movie. I know she kind of does her thing and then just kind of like fades away in the back and just kind of backpedals out of the situation. But the last like 30 minutes of this movie, she's like rarely in it. Like at the end of the movie, the entire story is done and they're doing this large, grand, exit number. And she's just kind of off to the sideline, just sitting there. I just wish that she was in it a little bit more at the end of the movie. She didn't have to be in every single sequence, but at least in the big, finale number, she could have showed up, sing a few parts. My only fault with the music in this movie is that it's just not very memorable. The original Mary Poppins are so memorable. You sing those songs after you see it for the first time.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree.
I can't remember a single song I just heard. Like, if you gave me $1 million to hum one of the songs in the movie, I don't think I could. So those are my thoughts on Mary Poppins. I had a great, enjoyable time with it. It's a great family film. If you're looking for a fun night out, definitely go and check this one out. There's great music sequences. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. And there's not much else to say about it. By the way, I need to stop reviewing movies that only start with the letter M. Like, I've done Mortal Engines, The Mule, and Mary Poppins Returns so far. Guess Aquaman is next. Mary Poppins Returns was a supercalifragilistic. No. That is way too long for this template. Okay, we need to stay in the template. Stay in the template. Stay in the template. Mary Poppins Returns was a good movie, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. As always, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like below. Let's try to get Pinky Tuscadero to 20 likes here. Comment your favorite Disney movie below. Tell me if you've seen Mary Poppins Returns, if you haven't, if you want to, if you don't. As always, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. As always, guys, for everything good, great, and okay, I'll see you in the next one.